How are you doing? I'd like to debate you a bit on Islamic perennialism, if you don't mind.
Islamic perennialism.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hold on. So why Islamic perennialism or not some other form?
No, because that's the position in which I'm coming from. I don't mind any other sort of perennialism. I just want to speak about certain grounds,
Okay.
Mainly the idea that perennialism necessitates, you've expressed this a couple times, I think, universalism and natural theology rather than revelation-based metaphysics. I think that's a completely wrong position.
Okay, well, I mean, you might appeal to like a self-evidence notion of revelation or some sort of intuitive thing, like maybe you're influenced by Neoplatonism or something like that. Why should I think that Islamic perennialism is true?
Again, I'm arguing generally for perennialism, not specifically Islamic perennialism. I understand that.
Okay, what is general perennialism? Like, how do I know what that is?
Well, it's not. What that is essentially is the idea that there is cycles of revelation, and that God reveals these revelations to the right people at the right time for the salvation of the human race.
Okay, and who is God, and how do you know that?
Based on those revelations, just like
but which revelations? Because that's going to exclude some others that claim to be revelation, right? So what's
it's not. We're talking about in perennialism. There's a term.
I know. I've read enough perennialists to know that you believe that, but I want to know how you know that, not just what is the position.
It does end in a sort of, I'd say, economia of God, in the sense that God preserves these traditions rather than Crowleyan butt sex, let's say.
Okay, but wait a minute. Why do you exclude the Crowleyan sex element and say no? It's this other stuff. What's the epistemic principle for that?
Well, the epistemic principle is that from the beginning of the cycle of revelation. So let's say, if we start the cycle of revelation, most perennially started at, let's say, the Hindu cycle. None of that is found in it.
So?
And it
first of all, so you
that.
Yeah, that's not. You didn't give me an epistemic principle. You stated your position again. How do I know that from the beginning of the cycle of revelation? Because there's not this sex element there in the ancient aeons, ages ago. That there's not a new revelation that's part of the perennial tradition.
Well, but a perennialist worth his salt, by definition, does not believe in new revelation.
Who decides those definitions?
The traditions within themselves.
And how do I know that tradition? That's what I'm asking. So it's a circle here.
No. The perennialism doesn't refer to a tradition. There's no perennialist religion where we go to perennialist.
You just said there's a preservation of the tradition.
Of the traditions. Yeah, of the old traditions, Christian, Islamic.
So
Hindu.
now all the traditions, but some of those traditions do include sex in the ancient world.
I would contest that point.
So the ancient world never had sex. I mean, have you read the Old Testament, for example?
Of course, but I don't think that we would attribute that to the revelation of God.
Again, that's the point. So it's arbitrary. So you're saying I cut it off there, even though it's in the ancient text. I cut that off.
It's not arbitrary because it's based on heart-based revelation of God
You're
himself.
begging the question now because I asked you how do I know what it is, and you're just saying that, well, it's the position that I hold. That's what it is. How do you know that you have the right delineator between the true and the false tradition?
Could I not turn that question to your specific tradition, for example?
Well, you can do it tu quoque. That's a fallacy. I'm happy to address it through tag, but I'm asking you for your position.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't do that.
Of course, you don't want to do that, right?
No, I don't want to.
Moving on. Maximos, what's up?